All right, Lizzie, you're up next. You got a kidnap victim feeling pretty generous with her kidnap. What's going on?
So this story, we talked about this story, I think maybe a year or two ago, when it came out that Gloria Williams was the actual kidnapper of baby Kamiyah Mobley. So in 1998, Kamiyah Mobley's mother, who was 14 at the time, gave birth to her in a hospital. 8 hours later, Gloria Williams, she dressed up as a nurse, went in, snatched the baby. The baby was never heard from for almost 20 years. She raised the baby as her own, changed the baby's name to Alexis, and it started to unravel shortly. I would say after Kamiyah became like a teenager, she questioned Gloria as to why she didn't have a social security card, why she didn't have an ID. So she told Gloria. Gloria told her early on, before she was found out by authorities, that she was, in fact, the kidnapper. So in 1990, or sorry, in 2018, she was sentenced to 18 years in prison, and it's been a tough road for, Kamiyah and her mom and her dad in terms of reconciling and getting to know one another. But while Gloria has been in jail, Kamiyah's had a very difficult go of it. So it came out this week, she's petitioning the court to be lenient and to let the woman who raised her, her kidnapper, out free, out early. And so my question to the panel is, and this isn't about, how Kamiyah has reacted, right? Because again, a lot of the back and forth between her and her birth mother has not been pretty. But this is a question about the justice system. And if Gloria Williams, who took this baby when she was only 8 hours old, if she should be shown some type of leniency and should be released early.
So, real quick, I want to jump in here. So, I get the child's perspective, especially since she felt like she was a good mother. It's a horrible thing the woman did, but the child is basically being further victimized, not having access to her mother she grew up with, and
She has
a
access to her
loving,
mother. She could go visit her in jail.
apparently a loving mother. I mean, she can't, she could visit her, but it's not the same. Now, but with that said, the woman must pay for her crime. I don't think her sentence should be reduced at all. Um, because if there's a happy ending to this story for a baby stealer, it'll signal to other potential kidnappers that the reward outweighs the risk. And it can't be a slap on the wrist for someone stealing someone's baby. Because as someone who wants children, I can't imagine my opportunity to raise my child being stolen from me like that. I feel like she's got to pay. And 18 years, that sounds about right for me. I don't think it needs to be reduced at all. Micah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Look, I understand that. I understand where like this has to be an incredible like mind f for the child, right? For the 18-20 year old. You can write all the letters you want, man. That doesn't no. You kidnapped a child. You kidnapped a baby. I don't know, man. With kids, uh, you don't mess with people's kids, man. You really don't. And when my son was born, the hospital made it a very they made it clear. They made it a priority to let us know every single step from when that baby comes out to to where the baby will go while the mother recovers. And they said you could walk with us every step of the way, and that's what I did because people do stuff like that.
Hmm.
No, I think this woman does not need to get a reduced sentence. Um, if you are on good behavior or whatever, like good, you're supposed to. So like that doesn't like that doesn't like that doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, no, you need to stay in prison, finish out your sentence, and come back out into the world. I'm fine with that, but
What you think?
no,
What you think,
not getting
Marcus?
out.
Man, this is a tough one for me. Just understanding where the Kamaya is coming from, because all she knows is this kidnapper, who we know as a kidnapper, as mom. And
Hmm.
now she's she's at a young age at 23. Now, and I saw, I don't know if you guys looked at any of the news video clippings, but she's got three moms now: her stepmother, that's married to her dad, and then
Hmm.
her actual biological mom. So that's got to be very tough for that young lady. My heart goes out to her.
Yep.
Um, I can relate to the parent side, especially the dad side, because I don't know if I talked about this in my book, but one of the stories that I went through was when my youngest daughter, Vivian, when she was born, I got to see her for 4 weeks, and her mother hid her from me. Was involved in a relationship with a man, and then they got married, and he didn't want me to have anything to do with them. So they
Mm.
were hidden from me for a good period. I think it was about 3 years while I was in college. I had to, I never forgot about her, but I had to do things in college to get myself together. And about three
Mhm.
years in, I started making phone calls back to the city of Chicago. I went to University of Illinois in Champaign, Urbana, 2 hours away from Chicago, and I started calling the clerk's office in Chicago, trying to figure out what I needed to do to get visitation rights of my daughter. I finally found a person that taught me what I needed to do. I filed a case pro se in Chicago, had to drive 2 hours at least once a month back for court. That lasted about 8 months. I didn't have an attorney, I didn't really have any help from my parents at the time. And the only reason why me and my daughter were able to reconnect was because the attorney for my daughter's mother passed away, and
Hmm.
she was in the process of getting a divorce from the gentleman that she was with at the time.
Wow.
Uh, so I get, what his statement was of how he had to wait 18 years before he could be reconnected with his daughter, in a sense. And whereas I've had times where I haven't been connected with my daughter, and of course, as you guys know, I have never met my grandbaby at this time. But as
Wow.
far as just to get on topic, the woman, she committed a crime. The daughter is old enough now to acknowledge that she committed a crime. There's nothing that's going to be done to take that back, or she can't give back the 18 years that she stole from the parents away. But in this country, you do the crime, you've got time to do.
Right.
I don't think there's anything that prohibits the I forgot the kidnapper's name, Gloria Williams, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
That's
There's
right.
nothing
Mhm.
medically wrong with her or anything. It's just the daughter, Miss Mobley, can send out all the pleas that she wants. And that's commendable, and that she can forgive and just still looks at her as mom per se. But in this country, she's got to do the time. It's
That's
as
right.
simple as that.
Right.
But, I agree
This.
with Micah. Go ahead. I'm
Right.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Marcus.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I agree with Micah in that if she gets out for good behavior or whatever the case may be, even though he doesn't agree with that type. I understand that, but that's understandable if they decide 3 or 4 years from now they want to let her go because of good behavior or whatever the case may be. If she gets out, for that reason, then I'm okay with that. But other than that, you still took several years that you can't give all the growth spurts, all the first words, and all she took all of that away from her biological parents. And so for that reason she needs to stay put.
Yeah. Real quick, Jacqueline Robinson says there should be no reduction in this baby thief sentence. He stole the years of the birth parents who could
Yep.
who could spend their who could spend with their child who missed every
Mhm.
milestone. Lizzie,
Yep.
your thoughts?
Or not even just in addition to missing every milestone. This is one of the things that's made me sad about this story, as it has unfolded over the years. There's been a very little consideration from the public for the birth mother and what she went through. One, she was a teenager when she had, Kamiyah, right?
Hmm.
She was 14, maybe about to turn 15 years old. Um, Lost her baby 8 hours later, baby stolen for her. And then for the next 18, 19 years, lived every day of her life wondering what happened. Where is my child?
Mhm.
Is my child alive? Is my child dead? Is she being taken care of? Has she suffered? Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished? Is this a punishment towards me? That is horrible. It is a horrible experience. And, as much as folks want to talk about how, Kamiyah was a victim, the birth parents were victims too, and for a lot longer. And I don't think we should get into this, habit of one Wayne, who was more of a victim, but also get into a habit of, well, a child needs their parent. Listen, there are plenty of people in jail, plenty of criminals who have children at home, and they too need to do their time. I do, hope that, Kamiyah can come to a place of some type of peace with everyone
Mhm.
involved, but also understand that your kidnapper, the woman who raised you, deserves every bit of that time.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
And even worse, she's an adult now, so she's not entitled to that time. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
like she can say, "Hey, I want you to come live with me and be a part of my life now, or I can start raising you and teach you some things." No, the child is an adult. The child can do whatever she wants. She has to earn that time back with her child. It's sad. But
No winners in this situation.
no.
None. None. None.
Real quick, Latoya Blakely says, pisses me off. Who the hell was she to take that experience away from that girl's actual parent? I couldn't imagine that anguish.
And
SMH,
what we haven't
SMF.
talked about here is why she took the baby. Trying to impress a man.
Is that what it was?
Trying to impress. That's what it was. Trying to impress.
Really?
She
Oh
has
my
older
God.
children. First and foremost, she has older children that she lost custody of before she took Kamiyah. Got in a relationship with a man, trying to impress the man, and say, "Oh, this is our child. I was pregnant. This is our child."
Mm.
That's how this, and that story
She might need
is
some
as
more time.
common as
Shit.
common as the sun
18 might not have been
rises.
enough.
It's
Right.
it's sad, but it happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, so Lizzie
I
said,
couldn't,
"Are
yeah,
you
I couldn't,
serious, Lizzie? What in the entire hell?"
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's
I
it's a
couldn't
very
believe
sordid
it when,
story.
I couldn't believe it when they told me that at the hospital, and they said it happens more than you would imagine, and they have like locked doors, and there are you need certain passes to enter certain areas, like they keep everything locked off, like in a bank or something like that,
that's the way it should be.
because
I'm down with that.
right, right, like I couldn't believe it.
Right. So is this truth,
Truth, lies,
lies, or
shenanigans.
shenanigans?
I don't even know what to call this. I
I
guess
know
it's
this is
shenanigans,
like none of these really
but not
fit.
like,
I'm
but
going with
not like funny
Yeah.
shenanigans. Not like funny shenanigans.
we might need to
You
change the
know,
name of our show and add another word in there.
truth, lies, and bullshit. I keep
Truth,
telling
lies,
y'all,
and
truth, lies, and bullshit.
all right. Latoya Blakely says all shenanigans. All right. All right. So this is our last topic of the day. Let's turn it over to
Y'all,
Micro Pain.
even
So
somebody could have
the
bring that.
question the question I pose to the panel is this allyship or is this exploitation? So, a new opera about Emmett Till is actually it has been released, um, but a petition was created that reached 12,000 signatures as of right now to have it taken away. It is an opera written uh, by a white woman based off of her play, Emmett Till, Down in My Heart. The opera is written by a white woman and composed, the music is composed by a black woman, her friend, who were about 15 and 20 when Emmett Till was murdered. Um, the critics of the opera are saying that they take issue with it because the opera allegedly centers around a fictional white woman who saw the lynching and did not speak up. The main crux of the argument is that Claire Cross, the writer of the play and opera, has creatively centered her white guilt using this play to make the racially motivated brutal torture of a 14-year-old child about her white self and her white feelings. She is essentially um, uh, telling the story from the perspective of a fictional, progressive white woman. And it is more concerned with showing audiences that not all white people are bad and she is not actually insisting upon the fight of racial justice. So, is this allyship? Is this exploitation? And are white creators, quote unquote, allowed to tell Black stories, particularly ones involving Black trauma?
Real quick,
Let's
just
go with.
real quick, I just want to make a quick correction. So, not a correction, but a little more information. So, the main character that you were talking about, the white woman, that was in her play, but the actual main character in the opera is not the white teacher. In fact, it's Manny Till, Emmett's mother.
Okay.
So, just to
But
let you know.
but but the white woman appears in
Yeah, but
the
that's
opera,
not the
right?
main character. Um, I didn't read that she appears in there. Um, but okay, but I just wanted to
The
clarify that. Just add that as
So
well.
the authors also responded by saying, yes, the opera has a fictional white character, but it isn't about her. It's a true story that happened in our American history
Yeah.
that could be told by anyone. Um, and she's saying that this character is here because predominantly the opera audience is predominantly a white going audience. And that character is there to help the white audience understand that, like, basically see something, say something. And they quote Martin Luther King uh, by saying, an injustice everywhere, an injustice somewhere is an injustice everywhere, and you have to speak up in order for these things. If you those who don't speak up, you're a part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will throw it to Marcus first, Neo second, and Liz third.
That
what, do
works.
you, what do you say, Marcus?
I just got all angry again now hearing you talk about that. As I mentioned to Liz yesterday, my mother was a principal in Chicago. She's now the superintendent of the school district in Michigan City, Indiana. But her school that she used to be the principal at was recent. The name of the school was James McCosh. They recently changed the name to Emmett Till Elementary School.
Nice.
That's the
Mm.
irony in all this. Um, I think this is shenanigans because, and I think the article spoke to some of the criticism that, this is being used for white entertainment. That's the part that's disturbing about it. Why not just tell the story? I think, people are focusing a little bit too much on the fact that the author is white, but if the author is white and she's doing this for her own white audience, trying to tell the story from a white perspective, that's the BS part. Because the story is what it is. We all know what happened. Emmett Till was lynched unnecessarily because he whistled at a white girl. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little bit pissed off
Nope, be
because I
pissed
am.
off.
Now. But I think to sit here and try to characterize a play or opera in language that white folks understand, they just need to understand that back then in the day, and we all know that all white people aren't bad. I have a lot of great white friends that and all over the country, and that's not what the issue is. Is that you're trying to take something that is very a serious situation. You want to tell the story, you've got to dramatize it, so don't try to change it into or spin it in a way that can be explained to white folks because you can explain it to me in plain language. All you need to do is explain it a story in plain language to help them understand where we are. You're not going to erase what had happened, and how that fits in with every other story of how African Americans have struggled throughout the course of the history of time. Just tell the story. Stop
Mhm.
making exceptions because you're trying to make white folks understand. If they don't understand how you tell the story, so be it. I mean, then they don't want to understand the story.
Yeah.
That's the part that is good. Don't feel like you're not going to make adaptation to us. When you're trying to talk about a story that was influential as far as a white person in history. So why feel like you don't need to change the story or change the connotation just to make them understand better? That's crap.
Yeah.
I probably could have said more choice words, but you know.
All right. So, all right. So, my view is a little bit different. So, when I first saw the headline, I was like, "Damn, what are these Trumpers complaining about again?" I figured it was Trumpers complaining about an Emmett Till, something. You know how they are how they're doing with critical race theory. So I figured that's what they were complaining about. But then I read it, and I was like shaking my head because for me, it was felt like the proverbial crabs in a barrel. Because I tend to agree with the opera's creator, and she's a black woman. So Mary D. Watkins, right? So she says it's very disturbing that people are condemning this piece without having seen or heard it. I know it's been released since, but they've jumped on the fact that the playwright is white and assumed all kind of things about the content of the play, even though there are many artists of color involved in this project. The critics are assuming we have had no impact on the final shape of the piece and that the playwright was somehow forced all of us to tell her story. It's an insult to me as a black woman and to the company members who are African American. So, I mean, I would rather the story be told than not be told, as long as it's not inaccurate or lies. Um, but I can go see it for myself and then make judgment. If it's full of lies and inaccuracies, then I point my fingers at the white writer probably. But otherwise, you know, I don't. I mean, Black Panther, for example. I mean, was a mostly black cast, right? But I guarantee they had some white people working on it. Um, I know the executive producers. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, I don't know that we can say at this point that she's not telling the story right. We're just going off of what people think based upon the play she previously wrote. I'll turn it over to Liz. What do you think?
I absolutely can say that she's not telling the story right. I can say to the Black people that are in this story who are responsible for producing this story and bringing it to the opera with this added character, yes, I can say that you're wrong. And just because you're Black doesn't mean that I have to agree with how you present a story to me. My issue with adding a Black character, and the original author of the play said this as the reason why, I'm sorry, white character, as the reason why she was adding this character was because she was trying to placate white folks. Okay, you can do that, but don't use Emmett Till, who has been lynched, who has been beaten, stomped upon, gravesite turned over 1,000 times. Don't use Emmett Till to try to white splain slavery, lynching to us.
Yeah, I don't, but I mean,
I
I don't think she
don't, no,
was
no, no, no.
saying
That,
that she was
wait,
placating
that,
white people. She was
of course
trying to
she's not
help
going
them
to say that
see it from a white point of perspective.
why do they need to see it from a white point of perspective? It
Because
is like
they
Michael
don't,
said,
they may not get
it
it.
is what it is. Who gives a fuck if they get
Absolutely
it?
agree with
The
you.
story
Absolutely.
is what it is.
I need to
It
be able to
doesn't need
see
to be.
just because
It doesn't.
I need to see
Can
it.
you let me finish? Can you let me finish?
Go ahead.
The story is what it is. And when did this happen? This didn't happen last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you wanna make white people understand, why not talk to the woman who's still living, who told this lie in the first place? One of your own. Understand her perspective and why she did it. Don't add someone in there talking about how they feel guilty because they didn't say anything.
I'll admit I don't
There
like
are
the
times,
added white character. I don't like that.
and that's the whole point. That's why critics are upset. There doesn't need to be any additions to this play to make white folks feel comfortable. Nobody should feel comfortable about this. Okay. And
Fair
so
enough.
that's why I have a problem with it. I don't care about white folks' guilt. I don't care about how, I feel bad because I didn't do anything. Whatever. That's on you. I don't need a play that adds a character to make me see how you may have felt bad in the situation. Absolutely. Especially not Emmett Till. It's offensive to our community, but it's certainly offensive to his family. So no, I'm not down for this at all. Not at all.
So according to NPR reached out to Emmett Till's family, and they had no comment on
Hmm,
matter.
interesting.
Look, I don't have a problem with white people telling black stories, but I feel like you got to pick and choose them. This is a very, very sensitive subject. If you are going to tell the story of Emmett Till, tell the story of Emmett Till. If you
Don't be
if
adding.
you can't understand it, if you can't relate, you are the problem.
You,
I don't. Right, right. The people that don't understand it, like if you can't relate to a child being murdered by a bunch of adults in one of the worst ways possible, you're the problem.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't need I don't need a black cipher to understand the plight, some of the plights that gay people go through, just because I'm not gay, right? Like I don't need that one to one because I understand humans, right? Like this the invention of this school teacher who doesn't do something, who sees something and doesn't say something. That is the worst part of it. You can tell the story of Emmett Till. Just tell the story of Emmett Till. I guarantee you, it's pretty goddamn captivating in and of itself.
It is.
I don't necessarily need, you know, well, I didn't relate to this, but boy, I saw this Rowan Taylor character, and now it clicks. No, man, like that doesn't jive with me.
or
It
I'll take
doesn't
you
make
one
sense.
further. I'll take you one further, Michael. You know, his mother made it a point at his funeral to have an open
Right,
casket so everyone could see what was done to her child. If white folks or people who, you know, may have been like, I don't really get, if they didn't get it after that, after seeing those pictures, there's no hope. There's no hope.
right.
Period. Period.
You are preaching to you are. This is the definition of preaching to a choir. With
I gotta be honest. I need to
having this
see it.
character.
I
And
need to see because
to your point, right? To your point, all of this is alleged. None of us have seen this play, but I'm making broad assumptions based on the couple of articles that I have. But I don't know how I don't know how much this made up character has in the story, but I don't know, man. I feel like
apparently
you
in
can
the
just tell.
opera has a lesser view in the story than it did in the play. I guess the play was different, so it was written differently, and it may have been because of the
Because of
collaboration between Watkins and the other black people on the cast and crew.
right,
So I'm just saying we can't. It's hard to be like, well, a white person should not be telling the story. I can't agree with that,
No,
but
and
I can.
I don't think any of us said that. I don't think any of us said that. I
But I
certainly
mean,
did
that's what a
not
lot
say
of
a
the
white.
critics are saying.
Yeah, I don't, because listen, Steven Spielberg told The Color Purple in an excellent fashion, okay? Excellently. So white people can tell story. You just tell it accurately.
But
Don't add anything.
the majority of the critics are pointing out that a white woman should not be telling the story.
But
There
I
are
think there's
some more people who go detailed and say, in addition to that, the reason a white person shouldn't be doing it is because she added this character to placate and all this other thing.
but I
I'm
think
just
that's
saying,
where that comes from.
and I
A
think
white
that's the
I think
problem. The only
I think that's
problem, though.
where it comes from is that a black person would not have felt the need to add a white.
Hmm.
I
So
mean,
that's
I
why
don't know.
they
I mean,
think a white person should.
there's a lot of docudramas that uh, elevate certain stories beyond the actual story and
No
add
one,
characters. There's
no,
characters
no
that are
one.
added in a lot of docudramas that are beyond the that are
You
fictional
act like you're
characters. It's
talking to
not
folks who
unusual.
haven't. You act like you're talking to folks who haven't watched movies or been to the theater. Of course, we
I'm just saying it's
know
not unusual. So I mean, we're just
it's not
focused on the fact that
unusual.
it was
But
a white woman
who
telling the
added
story.
a character that put who added a character talking about white guilt? Why would a black person do that?
I don't know that that's what her intent was. We're not clear on her intent there.
She said the
She didn't say
original author of the play. She did say that. I mean,
what
not
was her
those exact
exact
words,
word.
but that's what she said.
That's
That's what
yeah.
she said.
I think we're interpreting her words maybe a little bit. All right, let's get to these comments online because we're out of time. Because there are a lot of comments on time. This was a great topic,
Read
Michael.
Jacqueline Robinson's comment.
Okay,
I
go
need to
ahead. You
get
read
you
it.
on
You
that
read it.
one.
You got it up. Read
I
it.
didn't
There's a
even
lot of
get you
comments.
on that one. I didn't
You
even
read it.
get you on that one. Let me
Oh yeah, I
find
was
it.
gonna read that one. Neo Black Panther talk about apples and oranges to the black playwright. Isn't it strange how you feel you have to bend over backwards to make white folks feel better about themselves? Girl, take all the seats. Victoria Blakely, period. Who cares if it's not palatable. It's supposed to make Is it supposed to make them feel better? What about Emmett's family? Do they get to feel better? The black people in the community who saw the miscarriage of justice and had to live these celebrated murders all their lives. No, if we in 2022 are still pissed about what happened to that child, and I am, then I'm sorry, but I have zero fucks to give about how a white person feels about it. Mike Wolf, I think I'm going to shelve the screenplay I was working on about my days working at Sports Illustrated, told through the eyes of a young editor. Mike Winter says, Neo, she said why she added the character. All right. So, okay. Great comments. But is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
Lies, shenanigans.
I mean, I feel like this is the definition of shenanigans, right? Like all
It
around,
is.
depending on how you want to define shenanigans. But I feel like there's some shenanigans going on.
I'm going with shenanigans as well.
Shenanigans all day.
I always got a twofer.
It's a little shenanigans. I mean, I still feel like we should be a little more open, but at the same time, I didn't like the addition of the white character either.
We're gonna have somebody, writing a story about Martin Luther King's assassination and how, there was a white man standing there and he saw the gunman, but he didn't say anything, so now he feels bad.
I think it'd be a cool perspective. I don't know.
What?
I don't need that perspective, though.